Hello there. Are you feeling stuck? You've heard all the advice. You eat salmon for its omega-3s. You carefully simmer a pot of bone broth each week, hoping for that precious collagen. You might even be taking supplements. You're making an effort to do everything right. So why, every single morning, does that ache in your knees still greet you? Why do your ankles still swell up after a pleasant afternoon stroll in the park? It's almost as if you're trying to fill a bucket that's riddled with holes. You can pour in all the good things you want, but they just seem to drain away. Today, we're not going to talk about adding more water. We're going to talk about patching those holes. Because what if I told you that the greatest enemy of your joints isn't the absence of something you need to add, but the presence of silent saboteurs you're unknowingly putting into your body every single day? Welcome back to Healthy Steps, seniors. This is your channel, the place where we blend timeless life wisdom with the latest, most reliable, evidence-based medical advice. In today's video, we're embarking on an important journey of discovery. Together, with analysis from our medical experts, we will unmask the 7 most common joint destroyers lurking in our daily diet. This isn't a list meant to scare you or make you feel guilty. Not at all. This is a roadmap to give you back control. When you know who your enemies are, you know how to avoid them intelligently and effectively. Eliminating these foods can have a much more powerful and rapid impact than focusing only on supplementation. And make sure you stay with us until the very end, because the #1 culprit is something most older adults in America consume daily, sometimes even considering it a healthy choice without ever realizing its inflammatory and collagen-destroying effects. But before we begin, I have a question for you, and I genuinely love to hear from you. Based on your own experience, what is a food or drink that you suspect might be negatively affecting your joints, but you're not quite sure? And one final important note before we dive into the details. Please remember, the information in this video is provided for educational and awareness purposes. It is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or another qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have watched here. Now, let's begin our journey to reclaiming comfort in your stride. The first joint destroyer, at number 7, might not surprise you, but the extent of its devastation is something you may have never imagined. Destroyer number 7, sugar and sugary drinks. Yes, it's sugar. This sweet enemy is everywhere. It's the little pleasure in our morning coffee, the sweet reward after dinner, the main ingredient in those cold soft drinks we often serve guests or treat ourselves with on a hot day. We often don't think much of it. A little sugar here, a little there. It seems harmless. But for your aging joints, every single gram of sugar you consume is like throwing another match onto a pile of smoldering hay. To understand this clearly, let's hear the analysis from a medical perspective. When you consume sugar, your blood sugar levels rise. This excess sugar begins to attach itself to proteins in your body, especially the 2 most critical proteins for your joints, collagen and elastin. This process is called glycation. Imagine the collagen and elastin in your joint cartilage as millions of new, elastic, and flexible rubber bands. They help your joints bend, absorb shock, and move smoothly. The glycation process creates toxic molecules called Advanced Glycation End-products, or AGEs for short. According to a large meta-analysis published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, these AGEs act like glue, causing your collagen rubber bands to become stiff, brittle, and lose their elasticity. They not only weaken the cartilage structure, but also send signals to the body, triggering a cascade of inflammatory responses. Your body recognizes these AGEs as invaders and attacks them, causing chronic inflammation, which leads to swelling, heat, and pain in the joints. So what should we do? Eliminating sugar completely is very difficult, but mindfully minimizing it is entirely possible. Read the labels. Be wary of hidden sugars under different names like high fructose corn syrup, dextrose, or sucrose. They are often found in pasta sauce, ketchup, and even bread. Mix your own drinks. Instead of a can of soda, try sparkling water with a few slices of lemon, cucumber, or a few mint leaves. Instead of canned fruit juice, often loaded with sugar, eat the whole fruit to get the fiber. Find healthy alternatives. When you crave something sweet, reach for a handful of berries. They are not only lower in sugar, but also contain antioxidants that help extinguish the flames of inflammation. Sprinkle a little cinnamon in your coffee instead of sugar. It can help stabilize blood sugar. Mrs. Helen, a 72-year-old viewer of ours, shared a wonderful story. She had a habit of drinking sweet iced tea every afternoon. She thought it was an indispensable part of her day. When she learned about AGEs, she decided to try replacing it with unsweetened chamomile tea for 1 month. She wrote to us saying, "It wasn't a sacrifice. It was a trade. I traded the sweetness on my tongue for a feeling of ease in my knees. The feeling of sand in my joints every morning has noticeably decreased." Mrs. Helen's story shows how one small change can make a huge difference. But sugar doesn't just appear as white crystals or in a soda can. The next destroyer, at number 6, is another master of disguise for sugar. Destroyer number 6, refined grains. Refined grains. We're talking about soft white bread, fragrant bowls of fluffy white rice, pasta, crispy crackers, and most boxed breakfast cereals. They are the foundation of so many meals in both Western and Eastern cultures. They're convenient, inexpensive, and provide a quick feeling of fullness. But the truth is, to your body, a slice of white bread isn't much different from a spoonful of table sugar. Here's why. A whole grain has 3 parts: the fiber-rich bran, the nutrient-packed germ, and the starchy endosperm. The refining process strips away the bran and the germ, leaving only the starch-filled endosperm. Without fiber to slow down digestion, your body breaks down this starch into sugar at an incredibly fast rate. This creates a blood sugar shock, forcing the pancreas to work overtime to release a large amount of insulin. This constant and sudden spike and drop in blood sugar and insulin is a red flag for your immune system, triggering the release of inflammatory substances. In fact, the Arthritis Foundation has repeatedly highlighted the direct link between a diet high in refined grains and increased levels of inflammation in the body,
often measured by a marker in the blood called C-reactive protein, or CRP. The higher your CRP, the greater the level of inflammation in your body. The transition doesn't have to happen overnight. Start slowly. Choose 100% whole grain bread instead of white bread. Read the label carefully. Don't be fooled by words like multigrain that don't specify the ratio. Experiment with other grains. Replace white rice with brown rice, quinoa, or oats. Quinoa is not only rich in fiber, but is also a complete source of protein. Get creative with vegetables. When making pasta dishes, try using whole wheat pasta, or even pasta made from chickpeas or lentils. Another great option is to use a spiralizer to create noodles from zucchini. Think of it like this. Eating refined grains is like throwing a handful of paper scraps into a fireplace. It flares up into a big flame immediately, bright, but also dying out very quickly, leaving behind a pile of ash. That's the feeling of fatigue and the state of inflammation that follows. Meanwhile, eating whole grains is like placing a solid oak log in the fire. It burns slowly, evenly, providing warm and sustained energy for hours. Your choice will determine which fire is burning inside your body. We've talked about sugar and things that act like sugar. Now let's move on to destroyer number 5, a type of fat that the food industry once praised, but modern science has proven to be one of the worst inflammatory agents. Destroyer number 5, trans fats and processed vegetable oils. Trans fats and processed vegetable oils. For years, we were advised to stay away from butter and replace it with margarine, believing it was the heart-healthy choice. We used vegetable oils like soybean oil, corn oil, and sunflower oil for almost everything, from frying and sautéing to baking. These fats are cheap, make food crispier, tastier, and extend shelf life. They are present in countless products: cookies, commercial pastries, potato chips, fast food, and even non-dairy coffee creamers. There are two big problems here. First are the trans fats. These are artificial fats created through a process called hydrogenation to turn liquid oils into solid fats. Our bodies, after millions of years of evolution, simply don't know how to process this foreign fat. It is such a powerful inflammatory agent that the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, has officially determined that partially hydrogenated oil is no longer generally recognized as safe, and has taken steps to remove it from the food supply. They trigger systemic inflammation and damage the lining of blood vessels, including the small vessels that nourish your joints. The second, more subtle problem is the imbalance between omega-6 and omega-3. Both are essential fatty acids, meaning our bodies need them, but they have opposing roles. Imagine this. Omega-6 is like the first fire crew to arrive at the scene. Their job is to create a controlled burn, which is the inflammatory response, to clear out damaged cells and fight infection. This is a necessary process. Omega-3, on the other hand, is like the cleanup and reconstruction crew that comes after. Their job is to extinguish that flame of inflammation and begin the process of repair and regeneration. Our ancestors' diet had an omega-6 to omega-3 ratio of nearly 1:1. But the modern diet, filled with processed vegetable oils, corn, soybean, sunflower oil, has a ratio of up to 20:1. This means your fire-starting crew is oversized and constantly active, while your fire-dousing crew is tiny and rarely shows up. The result is a chronic smoldering fire of inflammation throughout your body, and your joints are where that heat is felt most acutely. According to the U.S. National Institutes of Health, or NIH, this imbalance is a major contributing factor to many chronic inflammation-related diseases. So, what's the solution? It's an oil change in your kitchen. Read labels obsessively. Look for the phrase partially hydrogenated oil and stay away from any product containing it. Choose healthy fats. Prioritize extra virgin olive oil for salads and low-temperature cooking. Use avocado oil for higher heat cooking. Boost your omega-3s. Actively supplement your fire dousing team. Eat fatty fish like salmon, sardines, and mackerel 2 to 3 times a week. Add walnuts, chia seeds, and flax seeds to your daily meals. A small change, like switching back to a moderate amount of real butter instead of margarine, can be the first step to rebalancing the fire department inside you. Now, from fats, we'll move to a type of protein. Destroyer number 4 is a convenient choice for breakfast and lunch for so many people, but that convenience comes at a steep price.
Destroyer number 4, processed meats. Processed meats, specifically sausages, bacon, deli meats, and the cold cuts used for sandwiches, we all know them. They're the solution for a rushed breakfast, a quick lunch, or for adding flavor to a pasta dish. Their convenience is undeniable. But the process of turning a fresh piece of meat into these products creates compounds that are seriously harmful to your joints. There are 2 main culprits here. The first are preservatives, specifically nitrates and nitrites. They're added to maintain the pink color of the meat and prevent bacterial growth. However, when cooked at high temperatures or when they come into contact with the acidic environment of the stomach, these compounds can transform into nitrosamines. Nitrosamines are extremely potent agents of oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is like rusting at the cellular level. It creates free radicals that attack and damage healthy tissues, including your delicate joint cartilage. And the second culprit, a familiar name, is AGEs. Yes, the same advanced glycation end-products we talked about with sugar. The high heat processing methods like smoking, drying, and grilling that these meats undergo create an extremely high amount of AGEs. So when you eat a slice of bacon, you're not only getting a dose of inflammatory agents from nitrates, but also a dose of collagen-hardening glue from AGEs. The impact of processed meat is so severe that the International Agency for Research on Cancer, a part of the World Health Organization, WHO, has classified it as a Group 1 carcinogen, a category for agents that are definitively carcinogenic to humans. Although the primary concern is cancer, the underlying mechanism causing the problem, chronic inflammation and oxidative stress, is the very same mechanism that is devastating your joints. This doesn't mean you have to become a vegetarian. It means you need to choose your protein sources more wisely. Prioritize fresh. Instead of buying packaged cold cuts, buy a fresh chicken or turkey breast. Boil or grill it yourself, then slice it for sandwiches for the week. Look for cleaner options. When buying sausages or bacon, look for products labeled uncured and nitrite-free. View them as a special treat, not a daily staple. Save bacon for a special Sunday breakfast rather than making it a daily habit. Think about rebuilding your house. You wouldn't choose bricks that are cracked, rotten, and soaked in chemicals. Similarly, when your body is trying to repair and rebuild joint cartilage, don't feed it protein sources that have been altered and are full of additives. Give it the best materials: fresh chicken, fresh fish, eggs, and legumes.
Your choice today will determine the structural integrity of your body's house for years to come. Next, we come to a highly controversial food group. Some people believe it's essential, while others, bodies react to it like a poison. What is it? Let's find out at number 3. Destroyer number 3. Dairy products. For some people. Yes, it's dairy products. Milk, cheese, yogurt. Throughout our lives, we've been taught that milk is the ultimate source of calcium and vitamin D for strong bones. And that's true for many people. But if you are one of the millions of people with a sensitivity, that glass of milk you drink every day could be the very source of your smoldering inflammation and joint pain. This confusion is real, and today we're going to clear it up. The problem often isn't with the calcium or the milk itself, but with a specific protein called casein. Most cow's milk in the United States and Europe comes from breeds of cows that produce a type of casein called A1 beta casein. When our bodies digest this A1 protein, it can create a small protein fragment called beta-casomorphin 7, or BCM7. For people with a sensitive digestive system, BCM7 can cause problems. It can trigger an immune response and cause inflammation. This is not lactose intolerance, which causes gas and bloating due to an enzyme deficiency, but a true inflammatory reaction from the body. Many studies, for example, a review in the scientific journal Nutrition Journal, have explored the hypothesis that for sensitive individuals, this A1 protein is associated with an increase in inflammatory markers. Think of your digestive system as a gatekeeper. If the gatekeeper is constantly being bothered by a troublemaker, BCM7, the gate won't be tightly controlled. This allows other inflammatory molecules to leak through the gut barrier and enter the bloodstream, from where they can travel to your joints and cause trouble there. So how do you know if dairy is a problem for you? The answer lies in listening to your body. The elimination test. This is the gold standard. Try to completely stop consuming cow's milk products for 3 weeks. No milk, no cheese, no yogurt, no butter. Keep a journal of how you feel. Are your joints less stiff? Has your energy improved? Reintroduce with control. After 3 weeks, try drinking a small glass of milk and monitor your body's reaction for the next 2 to 3 days. If the symptoms return, you have your answer. Find alternative options. A2 milk. Some stores now sell milk from breeds of cows that only produce the A1 protein, which is believed to be less likely to cause an inflammatory reaction. Goat or sheep milk products are often better tolerated. Other sources of calcium. Eat plenty of dark leafy greens like collard greens, kale, broccoli, and sardines with the bones in. This is about empowering yourself through self-awareness. You are the best expert on your own body. Next up, destroyer number 2. This is a substance our society widely accepts as a part of relaxation and socializing, but it is a multi-front poison for your joints. Destroyer number 2. Excessive alcohol. Alcohol. A glass of wine with dinner, a cold beer with friends on the weekend. It seems like a normal part of adult life. We often hear that a little red wine is good for the heart, but when a little turns into a daily habit or weekend binge drinking, it launches a full-scale assault on your joints from several different directions. First, it causes dehydration. Alcohol is a diuretic. It makes your kidneys flush out more water than you take in. Your joint fluid, also known as synovial fluid, is largely composed of water. When you become dehydrated, this lubricating cushion thins out, increasing friction between the cartilage ends, causing a dry and painful sensation. Second, it burdens the liver. The liver is the body's main detoxification plant and plays a central role in controlling inflammation. Excessive drinking forces the liver to work overtime to metabolize alcohol, distracting it from its job of processing other toxins and inflammatory substances. According to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC, excessive alcohol use can lead to fatty liver disease and cirrhosis, weakening the body's ability to control systemic inflammation. Third, it increases uric acid. Alcohol, especially beer, is very high in purines. When the body metabolizes purines, it produces uric acid. When uric acid levels in the blood become too high, it can form sharp, needle-like crystals that deposit in the joints, causing gout, an extremely painful form of arthritis. We're not saying you have to give it up completely, but moderation is key. Know the limits. CDC guidelines recommend that healthy older adults should limit intake to a maximum of 1 standard drink per day for women and a maximum of 2 for men. 1 drink is equivalent to 1 can of beer, 1 glass of wine, or a small shot of spirits. Alternate with water. For every alcoholic drink, have a full glass of water to combat dehydration. Make smarter choices. Red wine, in moderation, contains antioxidants. It is often a better choice than sugary cocktails or beer. Think of your liver as the oil filter in your car. If you continuously pour low-quality fuel into it, the filter will get clogged, and sludge will travel throughout the engine, causing wear and tear on the most sensitive parts, your joints. And now we arrive at destroyer number 1. It's not flashy, it's not sweet, but it is the most dangerous enemy because it is invisible and everywhere. The number 1 culprit destroying your joints is not the salt shaker on your dining table. It is the massive amount of sodium hidden in over 75% of the processed foods and restaurant meals we consume. You might think, I don't eat salty food, but a single can of soup can contain half of your recommended sodium intake for the entire day. The first and most direct mechanism is water retention. Your body needs a strict balance between sodium and water. When you eat too much salt, your body holds on to water to dilute that sodium. This excess fluid increases blood volume and puts pressure on the entire circulatory system. This pressure is especially felt in the soft tissues and delicate capillaries around the joints, causing swelling, edema, stiffness, and pain. But there is a second, more alarming mechanism that science has recently uncovered. New studies, like an article published in the prestigious journal Nature, have shown that a high-salt diet can trigger a part of the immune system that causes autoimmune diseases like rheumatoid arthritis. It promotes the development of a type of highly inflammatory immune cell called the Th17 cell. To put it simply, salt not only puts physical pressure on your joints, but it may also be ordering your own immune system to attack them. This is a war against an invisible enemy, and your weapon is awareness. Cook at home. This is the golden rule. It gives you complete control over the amount of salt in your food. Become a food label detective. Compare brands. Always choose the low sodium or no salt added versions of soups, beans, and canned vegetables. The American Heart Association, the AHA, recommends an ideal intake of no more than 1,500 milligrams of sodium per day. You would be shocked to see how a single restaurant meal can far exceed this number. Rinse canned foods. Rinsing canned beans or corn under running water can remove up to 40% of the added sodium. Flavor with herbs. Discover the world of spices. Garlic, onion, basil, oregano, turmeric, ginger, and a squeeze of lemon can provide much richer flavor than salt. Imagine your joints are like small balloons. Every extra spoonful of salt is like pumping a little more air into them. At first, you don't notice anything, but soon they become taut, tight, and painful to the touch. Reducing your sodium intake is like slowly letting the air out of those balloons, giving them back the space to become soft, flexible, and comfortable. So, we have journeyed together, unmasking the 7 joint destroyers lurking in our daily lives. From the sweetness of sugar, to the convenience of refined grains, to inflammatory fats and the hidden sodium in processed foods. But the most important message we want you to take away today is not a prohibitive list meant to inspire fear. It is a hopeful truth. Your body has a phenomenal capacity for self-healing. It is always trying to return to a state of balance and health. It just needs you to stop continuously creating new holes in your bucket of health. By recognizing and avoiding these destroyers, you are not just preventing damage, you are creating the space and providing the energy for your body to begin its miraculous repair process. Joint health isn't just measured by a pain level on a scale of 1 to 10. It's measured by the experiences you can have. It's the ability to bend down and pick up a toy for your grandchild without a second thought. It's the freedom to stroll around the lake on a beautiful morning breathing in the fresh air. It's the dignity of walking through your own home without needing to hold onto walls or ask for help. Every choice you make at the grocery store or in your kitchen is not a sacrifice. It is a declaration that you are worthy of that freedom, a declaration that you are taking back control of your health and your life. And we want to walk alongside you on this journey. Based on what you've heard today, what is the first small change you plan to make this week? Is it switching from white bread to whole grain? Or trying an herbal tea instead of a sugary drink? Share your commitment in the comments below. Together, we can create a supportive and inspiring community. If this video has brought you value, please take a second to hit the like button to let us know. And if you think it could help a friend or a loved one, please share it with them. And of course, if you haven't joined our community yet, hit the subscribe button for Healthy Steps Seniors and click the notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos on health and life wisdom for seniors. Remember, age is a fact, but pain doesn't have to be. Thank you for spending your time with Healthy Steps Seniors. Walk strong.